Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. So it's me, Tipsy, and it's been a long time. I don't think... Was it 3 months already? I think it's just 2 to 3 months ago. But anyway, for this video, I will be sharing with you my latest obsession. So I am currently obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but circa 2003 to 2005, this is very popular in the Philippines because I think ABS-CBN was the one showing the anime of Yu-Gi-Oh! So everyone was watching it and everyone wants to have the cards that Yugi, Kaiba, and other characters have. So that is when my obsession probably with Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards started. So I was buying this, cards from the local store outside our school back then. But it was so late, probably high school, when I learned that those cards were fake because I tried to join a tournament. There was a tournament in SM back then. And they said that the cards that I was using were fake because there is no way you can tell if a card is fake or not if you are not an expert. Of course, they were experts and they know better than me. But anyway, for this video, I will be discussing with you my favorite and main deck. So I have a lot of decks. I think I have 7 decks that I wish to make a video of. I hope we can go there. But I have 7 decks that I stock in these boxes. And for this video, we will be focusing on just my main deck. The deck that I always use, not only on physical fights or matches, but also on Duel Links. Because I also play Duel Links. It's just like a speed duel, so it's not very similar to the actual game, but at least you have opportunity to use cards, although in the digital world. So I also have physical copies of that card, and I will be discussing everything on my main deck on this video. So if you are interested with Yu-Gi-Oh, you love Yu-Gi-Oh, you are also playing Yu-Gi-Oh, this video is for you. And if you're not, skip this video and just watch another video. So anyways, let's start. Okay guys, so short history lang. Ang dami-dami ko na namang sinasabi. So this is the case of my main deck. You can put 2 decks here. So I have the main deck here, and I have... It's not a deck, it's actually extra cards that I usually use to substitute other cards that I feel like using on that game or on that match. So nevertheless, the main deck is here. The Harpies. Why do I like the Harpies? So when I was watching the anime back then, of course everyone wanted to be Yugi. Not that I wanted to be this character, but I wanted to have her cards. So Yugi, everyone was about Yugi. Actually, my first card was Dark Magician that I got from a booster pack. So I was watching the anime. Ang dami kong sinabi for minutes na. I was watching the anime. And I think Mai Valentine showed up in episode 3. She did not battle anyone. She just had a friendly fight with somebody there. I don't want to spoil you. But the actual fight happened probably after Weevil. So Weevil was 5, 6, or 7. That was the first time that she played. And that was the first time that I actually got obsessed with a set of cards. I cannot say that Harpies were the first archetypes because I know the first one is the Gravekeeper's archetype because of a lot of cards related to it that was released back then. But Harpies was the first archetype that was shown in the anime. A lot of people will say that it's Blue Eyes, but with the case of the Blue Eyes, Kaiba was only using 3 copies of Blue Eyes, a fusion monster, and polymerization. So polymerization is the fusion card. But that time, when you mean archetypes, it's like different cards that have support cards, and Blue Eyes doesn't have a support card back then. I'm not sure if my memory is right. Unlike with the Harpies, they're exclusive cards, like for example Cyber Bondage, or you call it in TCG as Cyber Shield. They also have the Rose Whip that is not yet printed in physical cards. The Harpies Feather Dusters. So it's basically a combination and a deck of a combination of cards that you can make or focus your deck on. So I think it is one of the earliest archetypes in the whole Yu-Gi-Oh franchise. But anyways, so I saw Mai Valentine. I started liking her. Actually, she's my favorite character in Yu-Gi-Oh, and we will be unboxing a statue of her in my future videos. So stay tuned for that. So I always wanted to have Harpy cards But back then, I was not able to get one. The first time I got one was in 2004 or 5, I guess, and those were the only original Harpy cards that I got in the Philippines. Those were the times when they released Harpy Lady 1, 2, 3 separately. Those were the Harpies that are in the Harpy Lady Sisters artwork. And then Triangle Ecstasy Sparks, and Harpies Hunting Ground. Those 5 cards were the first Harpy Lady cards that I owned. Original Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I owned. And then I also have back then, actually my interest with Yu-Gi-Oh was already diminishing. Early 2005. So that was the time that I got the fake Harpy Lady, the original Harpy Lady, the normal one, and Harpy Lady Sister and Elegant Egotist. I still have that in the Philippines, but it's fake, so I cannot really use it. But when I transferred to Japan, I find this like an opportunity to complete the deck because I just have to. It's my childhood dream. Okay, so anyways, so enough of the pet talk. Let's discuss the cards. Okay, so anyway, just a disclaimer. So I will be showing you the OCG versions of the Harpy cards, or any cards that I'll be showing in any of my videos in the future, and I will be just explaining it to you in English. So if you don't understand it, of course I will be putting the artwork of the TCG on the video also. So I will be explaining to you how I do it, but this is the deck that I use and the usual combination that I do in matchup. Starting with 3 copies of Harpy Lady, the original one, Harpy Lady 1, and Cyber Harpy Lady in TCG. This is called Harpy Lady SB in Japanese, or in OCG. Harpy Lady Cyber Bondage. So actually guys, I think you will be asking me why I only have 1 copies of each. So I will be explaining to you, if you are not a user of Harpy deck, you can only have 3 copies of 1 card on your deck. So you can have 3 copies of this one, 3 copies of this one, and 3 copies of this one. However, these 2 cards are effect monsters. So the effect of this card actually makes it a Harpy Lady in any field, not only on your field and graveyard, but also on your deck. So practically, if you add them to your deck, they will all be considered a Harpy Lady already. So that is the reason why I only have 1 copy of each on my deck. Of course, you can have different other combinations. For example, you will play 3 copies of this Harpy Lady because you are nostalgic about Mai Valentine's, gameplay and the anime. You can also play 3 Cyber Harpy Ladies because you are focusing on high attack monsters, because this has 1,800 without sacrifice. Or you can play the 3 copies of Harpy Lady 1, 2, and 3 with different effects. Again, it's up to you. You can also play, a combination of each one, probably 2 Cyber Harpy Lady and 1 Cyber Harpy Lady, or Cyber Harpy Lady, original Cyber Harpy Lady, and Harpy Lady 2. It's up to you. But in between these 9 cards, you can only choose 3 cards, and I choose the Cyber Harpy Lady, and Harpy Lady 1. Where are you? So why did I choose these 3 cards? First, I like the original Harpy Lady because I just want to have a normal monster on my deck. So a lot of cards in the Harpy deck are effect monsters. So I am really thinking that it might be useful in a special card in a special game where I would need one. So that is in preparation for some challenges that I could be facing in the future. I have the Cyber Harpy Lady because sometimes I needed a monster that has a high attack value that I can use to fight, defense monsters. And of course, the Harpy Lady 1 because of the effect. I like that it increases your wind monsters on the field's attack power by 300, including this card. So if you play this, you will have an additional 300 and you will get 1,600 attack power. So again, just like Cyber Harpy Lady, I can use it to attack defense monsters or other cards with low attack value. So there are other cards here that are, Harpy Lady, but I think Harpy Lady 2 and Harpy Lady 3 also have an effect that I will not be probably using in the future. With Harpy Lady 2, it negates the effect of any flip effect cards that it destroys on battle. So I think it's gonna be useful if you are still playing the traditional Yu-Gi-Oh card game, because there are a lot of flip effect cards there. But right now, where the facing of games are a little faster. I don't think this is very useful, so I'm not really using it. I use it sometimes in Duel Links. So with Harpy Lady 3, when an opponent's monster attacks this card, it cannot declare another attack for the next 2 turns of your opponent. So again, it can be useful if your plan is to prolong the game, but with the face of the current game of Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't think you will last that long in the battle. So again, for me, this is not useful. So I will just be focusing on Harpy Lady 1, Cyber Harpy Lady, and the original Harpy Lady. Sometimes I change this with another copy of Cyber Harpy Lady, but that is very, very rare that I do because I really like this card. Next, I have 2 copies of Harpy Lady Sisters. So my advice with you guys is just have a maximum of 2 of this card on your deck. First, because you cannot really special summon it without Elegant Egotist. So even if you destroy this directly to your graveyard, you cannot summon it because you did not use Elegant Egotist. And it is really, really hard, especially when you suddenly draw this card and you don't have any other monsters that you can summon in your field. So for me, just 1 of this is enough and 2 is the maximum. I have 2 because sometimes I use this as my boss monster in this deck. Sometimes I also use 1 card of this. But if my deck will be focusing on this as a boss monster, for example, all of the cards that are related to Harpy Lady Sisters will be used in the game, then I would probably use 3 cards of this. 3 copies of this card. I have 3 copies of Harpy Perfumer. Actually, this is one of my favorite Harpy cards ever because it's so easy to use and it's so easy to summon. So the effect is, of course, you can treat this as Harpy Lady on your field or in the graveyard. So if this is normally or specially summoned on the field, you can add 1 spell or trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists Harpy Lady Sister. So that can be Elegant Egotist or Cyber Bondage or, you know, what else? I mean anything that has Harpy Lady Sisters on its card's text. And also, if you have a level 5 or higher Harpy monster on your field, you can also add another card that is not the same with the card that you picked on the first time. So you can only use this effect once per turn, and this is really, really useful. I think this is the searcher of a Harpy deck because it's so easy for you to search Elegant Egotist when you have this card. And with that, there will be a lot of combination. You can summon another Harpy card and then Synchro summon one of the boss monsters of this deck. So again, if I will be making a tier list of Harpy cards, this will probably be an S tier. First, because it's so easy to summon. Second, it doesn't have any risk for you to search for the card that you need for your Harpy combination. And the artwork is really good. A short trivia, guys, Harpy Perfumer is probably inspired by Mai Valentine's Aroma Tactics because in the anime, she was using this, technique that she says or calls Aroma Tactics. So she puts perfumes on her cards so that it will look like she is having psychic powers and she will know how the cards are arranged, or she will predict the next cards that she will draw. So the perfume is an ode to her Roma Tactics, where she was using these different sets of perfumes. I think she also has a good artwork, and it is reminiscent of Mai Valentine's usual color of clothes, violet or purple. One thing I like about the OCG is they did not really, censor the artworks. So what the original artworks are shown in the TCG. I think this is heavily censored in the TCG. We have Harpy Channeler, 3 copies of this card. So again, this is a very useful card in this deck because first, it can help you special summon a Harpy deck from your deck by discarding another Harpy card on your hand. So it doesn't have to be a Harpy monster. It can be a spell card or a trap card that is specifically a Harpy card. So you can discard that, special summon a monster in face-up defense position. So this is useful again if you are gonna focus on Synchro summon. And additionally, of course, you will treat this card's name as Harpy Lady on the field or in the graveyard. Plus, you can increase the level of this into 7 if you have a dragon type monster on your field. So in this deck, you know that there is a dragon type monster that I also want to be discussed on next, probably on the next set of cards. But anyways, that's gonna be also useful if you will be focusing on XYZ summon. So this is a must for every Harpy deck. I have 2 copies of Harpy Oracle. Also, this is one of the newest Harpy cards in the game, and this is also very useful. It has a lot of effects, guys, so bear with me. Again, this card's name will be treated as Harpy Lady on the field or in the graveyard, so you can only use one of the 2 effects that are listed on this card's text. First, if you control a high level monster or a level 5 or higher Harpy monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So besides the normal summon, you can just special summon this without any risk. Next, if this card is normal or specially summoned on the field, you can add 1 spell card or trap card from your graveyard to your hand. That, again, specifically says Harpy Lady Sisters on its text. So it is gonna be useful because of course it has a low attack power, so there's a tendency that your opponent will attack this monster right away. So when that happens, you can activate the effect of sending 1 spell or trap card from your graveyard to your hand. For example, Elegant Egotist, because you wanted to summon another Harpy Lady on your next turn. So it's gonna be very useful, especially if you want to recycle spell cards or trap cards that you already used in the game. Again, together with Harpy Channeler, I think Harpy Oracle is also an ode to Mai Valentine's supposed psychic powers in the anime. Oracle and Channeler are, things that you do when you have psychic powers, and we all know it she doesn't have, but with this support cards, new Harpy support cards, I think they are paying tribute to Mai Valentine's character in the original Yu-Gi-Oh anime series. I have 2 copies of Harpy Harpist. This is also a fairly strong card with 1700 attack power. So the effect says that it can also be treated as Harpy Lady on the field or in the graveyard. And there are 2 effects that are listed on the card text, and you can only use one once per turn. When this card is normally summoned, you can target 1 winged beast type monster you control and another card, probably a card that is face up on your opponent's field, and return them to the hand. So if there is a very powerful card in your opponent's hand, you can use the effect of Harpy Harpist to return that to your opponent's hand. This is gonna be useful if that monster was summoned using Tribute or Ritual Summon, and it's gonna be difficult for them to return it to the field again. The other effect says that you can use this during your end phase, and if this card was sent on the graveyard, for example, being attacked by your opponent's card, you can actually add 1 level 4 winged beast type monster with 1500 or less attack power from your deck to your hand. Again, it's not only very useful in a battle, but when it is destroyed, you can use it to search for cards that you can use with your Harpy Lady deck combination. So this is also very useful, not only in battle, but also with its effect. So you have 2 copies of this on your deck. I don't have a trivia with this card, but there is a specific card in the game that looks very similar to this card. I don't know the name. I think that is the card that is included on the Noble Knights deck. You can just search it. They have the very, very similar position. Next monster is Harpy Dancer. So the effect of Harpy Dancer is that it can be treated as Harpy Lady on your field or in the graveyard, and you can target 1 winged monster you control, return it to the hand, and normal summon 1 winged monster. So it can either be this card or a different monster that is on your field. This can only be activated once per turn. Actually, guys, at first, I really did not understand the need for the effect of Harpy Dancer, especially since it has a very, very low attack power of 1200. So I was really skeptical about her on the field because she has a very low attack power. She cannot defend herself. But in reality, for example, your slot is already full and you wanted to return a monster from your field because you cannot use them for Synchro Summon, for example. So you can just use this effect to return that and put up a different monster that is on your hand. For example, just one instance, I want to Synchro Summon Cyber/Harpy Lady, and I already have Harpy Lady Sisters on the field, and you don't have any tribute monster on the deck. For example, you did not bring out Harpy's Pet Dragon, so you will just use the effect of this, return Harpy Lady Sisters on your hand, and then put up a different Harpy Lady on the field to be able to Synchro Summon. it's important to understand that it's very hard to use Harpy Lady Sister to Synchro Summon Cyber/Harpy Lady because it is a 5-level monster, and it's very difficult because there is no 3-level monster on a Harpy deck except if you will combine it with other archetypes. So that is the reason why I think this is very useful, especially if you are on a speed duel and the slot of your field is very limited. Anyway, I also like the artwork of Harpy Dancer, and it's very unique. The color scheme is very unique, especially for a Harpy Lady monster. Short trivia, so Harpy Dancer actually looks like the adult version of Harpy Girl. I think because of their blonde hair, similar outfits, and almost similar color of wings. I don't know, because she was still a girl in this card, so probably it has pinkish cards. They change color, right? I mean, animals, sometimes when they're babies, they change color, so probably she outgrew the color of her wings and it turned white on when she turned into baby dancer whatsoever. But anyways, according to the text of Harpy Girl, she aspires to become, to flit. I don't know the meaning of flit, to do something beautifully and gorgeously, and you can relate it to dancing probably. And I don't think she looks very similar to other cards on this deck, so the most similar would be Harpy Dancer, so probably they are kinda related. I don't know. If you know about it, you can comment it down below. I'm not sure about it. I have one copy of Harpy's Pet Dragon, so sometimes this is also a boss monster for my deck, but in this particular deck, I only have one copy of this one. So if I really need to tribute summon one card, I play this. So its effect says that it gains 300 attack and defense value for each Harpy Lady on the field. And if you are a user of this kind of deck, you know that your field will be swarmed by different Harpy Ladies. So you can just imagine how many attack power this card will have with all of those Harpy Ladies on your field. So I have one copy of this one. It actually has a retrained version that I will be showing to you next. Let's start with the baby version of Harpy's Pet Dragon, Harpy's Pet Baby Dragon. So as you can see the artwork, it has Harpy Girl because I don't have her on my deck. So at least I have her on one of my cards' artwork. Actually, this card's effect depends on the number of Harpy monsters you have on your field. So if you have one, your opponent cannot target Harpy monsters you control for attacks except this card. So if you have 2 or more, you can double the attack and defense of this card, the original one, okay, without the equipped spells whatsoever. And if you have 3 or more, you can once per turn target one card from your opponent's control or field and destroy them. So this is more useful than Harpy's Pet Dragon, right? Because of the 3 effects. But again, just like the first card that I showed to you, it depends on how many Harpy monsters you have on the field. Alright, next we have the newest addition to the Harpy deck. I think this was released just this year, early this year. This is the Harpy's Pet Dragon Fearsome Fire Blast, or in Japanese, Harpy's Pet Dragon Saint Fire Giga. That sounds so much better. Why they did not translate it just the way it is? Okay. By the way, the effects of this card says that your opponent's monsters on the field cannot target level 6 or lower Harpy monsters for attacks. So this is similar to Harpy's Pet Baby Dragon. Next, if this card is sent to the graveyard from the field, you can send one winged monster from your deck to your graveyard. Also, if you control a level 6 or lower wind monster, which you will be, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position without sacrifices. Guys, that is an additional monster on your field without any sacrifices. This has 7 level card. This is a 7 level card, so you need 2 sacrifices, and for a 2000 attack power level card, that's very hard to do. But anyway, guys, this is reminiscent of Mai Valentine's Harpy's Pet Dragon in the anime, when the dragon was used by Yugioh. Yugioh used brain control to control this Harpy's Pet Dragon and attack the Harpy Ladies, and Mai Valentine's Harpy's Pet Dragon did not attack because of loyalty. So I think this is a testament of that loyalty in the anime. So let's move on to the cards on my extra deck. So since the extra deck has a limit of 15 cards on your deck, so I have just 9 cards on my extra deck. So let's start with, again, related to Harpies Pet Dragon, the Harpies Pet Phantasmal Dragon. This is an XYZ dragon that requires 3 level 4 wind monsters. So it's very easy to summon this, guys. So this card's effect can only be applied while it has materials. So materials are the ones that you use to summon this card, to XYZ summon this card. So this card can attack your opponent directly. Guys, 2000 attack power. That will just take 2 turns. Your opponent can target any Harpy monsters with effects or 4 attacks. And during your end phases, you can detach 1 material from this card. So that is a mandatory effect. So you will detach those materials per turn. So I don't think it will last. If it's really a very weak opponent, it will last more than 3 turns for you to finish your opponent with this card's effect. So it's really powerful, and I have 3 copies of this on my extra deck because I don't have any other. Again, guys, this deck is fairly all about Harpy cards, so I did not really put card that is not directly related to these cards. So I'll only be focusing on Harpy cards. I have 3 copies of Harpy Conductor. Guys, this is a link card. So I haven't actually summoned this yet because they haven't, added the link summoning on Duel Links, or I'm not really confident using this on actual physical matches. But anyway, you can possibly tribute 2 wind monsters to summon this card. It doesn't have a level because it's a link summon card. So similar to the other monsters that I showed earlier, this card's name will be Harpy Lady on the field or in the graveyard, and it has 2 effects that you can only use just 1 of it per turn. So if a Harpy monster you control will be destroyed by battle, or probably by your opponent's card effect, or your card's effect probably, you can destroy 1 spell or trap you control instead. So this is very similar to Harpies Hunting Ground. So the other effect says that if another face-up Harpy monster you control returns your hand, probably in conjunction to the effect of your Synchro card on this deck, you can target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So most of the strategy of Harpy cards are to return cards to your hand. So it will be very useful for you if you will have cards that are related to returning, cards that are returning from your field to your hand. I really like the artwork of this card. It reminds me of, casino dealers. Again, this is a tribute to Mai Valentine because she was on her history in the series, she was once a dealer, a casino dealer in a cruise ship. So this is again an ode to her character background in the anime. See, it's so beautiful, guys, and sexy. I have 3 copies of this as well. Next card is my favorite card and probably the boss of my whole Harpy deck. So I have 3 copies of Cyber/Harpy Lady in TCG, or in Japanese, Harpy Lady SC, or Harpy Lady Scratch Crash. So this is my favorite card because it's so powerful, guys. So you can tribute 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. So you will be asking again, guys, I did not show any tuner monster to you guys previously. So actually, with the effect of this card, you can treat any Harpy monster as a tuner. So it doesn't require you to add a tuner monster that is not in sync with your Harpy deck, because any Harpy card on your deck can be considered a tuner and to be used as a sacrifice for this card. So it's really powerful, and I think this is very special compared to, other Synchro summon, because some of them use tuner monsters or special cards. With this one, you can use just any Harpy card on your field to tribute summon this one, of course with a total level of 7. So when a spell card, so the effect says that this is also treated as Harpy Lady on the field or in the graveyard. So again, if you use a spell or trap that is related to Harpy Lady, you can use this card. So when a spell or trap card's effect is activated, it can be either you or your opponent. You can target one monster your opponent controls or one Harpy monster you control and return it to the hand. So this is again useful because if there is a very powerful monster on your opponent's side of the field, you can return it to their hand, and if it's a tribute, ritual summon, or fusion summon, it will be difficult for them to return it to the field unless with another effect. Also, you can only use this effect of Harpy Lady Cyber Slash once per turn. So like just one of this will be very useful to you to fight with very powerful cards on your opponent's side of the field. So I really like this, and it has a very powerful attack power, 2600. It is like the original attack power of the original Harpy doubled. So the original Harpy's attack power is 1300, so it has 3600 and 1400 defense power. So as you can see, this is also a great artwork. It shows Harpy Lady 1. So with her on the card, I think I have 4 different cards already. I mean 5 or 6 whatsoever. Anyway, that ends the cards on my extra deck. So let's move on to the spell cards on this deck. We have, of course, the best friend of all of the Harpy deck users out there, the Elegant Egotist. So you should have 3 copies of this on your deck because you have to increase the chance of you blowing this on your first turn or probably on your earlier turns, because you have to swarm your field with Harpy Ladies as much as possible. So this works when you have Harpy Lady on your field, and most of the monsters that I mentioned a while ago or showed you earlier can be considered Harpy Lady on the field. So you can directly use each one of them, activate this card, and summon another Harpy Lady. Although it is only limited to, of course, Harpy Lady sisters and those that are considered Harpy Lady on the deck, like Cyber Harpy Lady, Harpy Lady 1, 2, 3, or the normal Harpy Lady. So I always put 3 copies of this in any strategy that I do with Harpy Lady because I really wanted to summon many Harpy Ladies, especially if I will be summoning Cyber Slash Harpy Lady. So I really like this. I like the artwork. If you can see, these are the side faces of Harpy Lady 1. I didn't notice this during, my first introduction or my first time that I saw this card, but before I just thought it was a set of flowers on a mirror, but actually these are faces of Harpy Lady. Actually, Harpy Lady is also in Shadows of Ice artwork, but it's only the eyes. So if you don't know that too, at least you know now. This spell card is not actually a necessity for a Harpy deck, but I put 2 copies of Cyber Bondage or Cyber Shield because sometimes I want to really increase the attack power of some of my Harpy Ladies, especially if I will not be focusing on Synchro Summon or summoning higher level monsters. So I will use this to increase the chances of other monsters to be my boss monster on the field. So I have 2 copies of this. They increase the attack of any Harpy Lady on the field by 500 points. So this is also gonna be useful, especially if you have Cyber Slash Harpy Lady on your field and you want to destroy a spell card or trap card from your opponent's field. So just activate this one and you can right away activate the effect of Cyber Slash Harpy Lady. I have 1 copy of Harpy's Hunting Ground. So this is the spell card, the field spell of the Harpy deck. So you can add other copies of this card, but I just have 1 because I really did not like the mandatory effect of this card. But of course, it's gonna be useful to you, especially if your strategy is to kill your opponent on 1 turn. So OTK your opponent. So of course, all of your Winged Beast monsters will gain 200 attack and defense power. So if any Harpy Lady or Harpy Lady sister is normally or specially summoned on the field, the person who summoned that Harpy Lady will target 1 spell or trap card in the field and destroy it. So this is mandatory. So if your opponent doesn't have any spell or trap card in the field, you have to sacrifice your own. That is the reason why I don't like it, because most of the spell and trap cards that are in this deck, in this Harpy deck, are very useful for my combination. So I wish they did not make it like a mandatory, effect or something. But anyways, of course, it has a very powerful effect. Of course, there has to be a risk for that. I have one copy of Hysteric Sign, so I only have one copy of this because this is a continuous spell card, so I can use it per turn. So when this card is activated, you can add one Elegant Egotist from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and if it's gonna be the end phase of the turn that this card is sent from the field or hand to the graveyard, you can add up to 3 Harpy cards with different names from your deck to your hand. So you can only activate this once per turn and only during that turn. So it's also useful not only when it's on the field but also when it's destroyed, especially if you really don't have any monsters on your hand and this card is destroyed. You can add 3 different Harpy Ladies and you can special summon it. And of course, the most useful one is adding Elegant Egotist, because if you only have one Harpy Lady, it's so easy for you to swarm it with just one Elegant Egotist. It is actually Mai Valentine's favorite card on the 4th season, where she turned bad, like badass. So Harpy Lady Phoenix Formation. So I only have one copy of this card because I usually use this when I have an effect card that needs cards to be destroyed. For example, Harpy's Hunting Ground, and Harpy Channeler's effect can also be used with this because you have to discard a card, and this is the one that I sacrificed. So I really did not like the effect of this card, but if you are into it, so I will just be explaining it to you. So if you control 3 or more Harpy Lady on your field or Harpy Lady Sisters, you can target as many monsters as your opponent controls in the field, but it should not be more than the Harpy Ladies that you control on the field. Then destroy those targets, and if you do, you can inflict the damage to your opponent equal to the highest original attack of those destroyed monsters. So, like, you cannot special summon any Harpy Lady after doing this effect when you activate this card. So, for just a short effect, I don't know if a single destroyed monster can destroy your opponent's life points right away. So I don't think it's very useful if it's not a burn strategy that you are doing. But it doesn't hurt that you have one copy of this one on your deck. I have one copy of Harpy's Feather Rest. I like the artwork. It shows Harpy Harpist, Harpy Dancer, and Harpy Channeler. So I only have one copy of this one. So you can target 3 Harpy Lady or Harpy Lady Sisters on your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. So if you control a level 5 or higher Harpy Lady monster, for example Cyber/Harpy Lady, you can activate this effect and draw 2 cards instead. So you can continuously add cards on your hand from your deck. So for the rest of the turn that you activated this card's effect, you can special summon monsters except winged monsters. So I haven't done it yet because all of my cards are winged monsters. You can also activate this just once per turn. So I like also this one because of the artwork. I wish it was a hologram artwork because it looks good. Anyway, let's move on. I have one copy of Alluring Mirror Split. So it shows most of your Harpy monsters on its artwork. Harpy Lady 1, Harpy Queen, Harpy Channeler, Harpy Dancer, Harpy Perfumer, and a silhouette of Harpy's Pet Dragon. So the effect says that when a Harpy Lady or Harpy Lady Sisters you control in the field is destroyed by battle, you can special summon 1 Harpy monsters from your deck with a different original name than the destroyed monster. So if this card you control is destroyed by Harpy's card's effect or opponent's card effect, you can target 1 Harpy monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So again, you can only use this effect once per turn. So this is very useful again if your opponent was able to destroy all of your Harpy cards on your field and you don't have any monsters on your hand. You can just special summon from your graveyard with this card's effect. From your deck. Next, I have one quick spell card here called Swallow's Nest. So you can tribute 1 face-up winged beast type monster on your field and special summon 1 winged beast type monster from your deck with the same level of the tributed monster. So I only have one of this because I just sometimes use this strategy. But anyways, this is useful if you want another winged beast monster that that is more powerful than the one that you already have on your field. So you will be wondering why I did not include a copy of Harpies Feather Duster on my deck. So first, because this was originally banned for many years, and I just want my deck to focus on those cards that are playable in any tournament or match, because I think there is still a particular game or Yu-Gi-Oh match or tournament that doesn't allow this card. So just to be safe, I don't really want to add it to my deck. Probably if the situation permits me to, I will add one copy of this one because it's very powerful. You can destroy all of the spell and trap cards on your opponent's side of the field without any risk. So probably that's the reason why it's banned for many years. And this is the only banned card on the Harpy archetype. Move on to the trap cards on this deck. So first, I have the Hysteric Party. This is a continuous trap card. So you can activate this card by discarding one card and special summon as many as possible copies of Harpy Lady from your graveyard. So when this card leaves the field by, for example, your opponent's card effects, you can destroy those monsters as well. So this is also very useful to swarming your field with cards that are already on your graveyard. Because if you are like me, guys, I really don't like my Harpy cards to be on the graveyard. I really do. So as much as possible, I have to resummon them again or return them to my hand or deck. I have one copy of Icarus or Icarus Attack. I don't know how you pronounce it. You can also teach me and tell it down below. But with this wrap card, you can tribute one winged beast monster and target 2 cards on the field and destroy them. So if your monster has a lot of monsters on the field, or your opponent has a lot of monsters on the field, you can use this card. Sacrifice one Harpy Lady on your field and destroy those cards from your opponent's side of the field. So I just have one copy of this one, and as you can see on the artwork, this is Harpy Lady 3 because of the hair. I can see it from the color 3 probably. She reminds me of an Amazonas monster because of her muscular appearance. Anyway, let's move on. The next trap card is really great, especially in the artwork, but I really don't like using this card. So this is also a card that focuses on Harpy Lady Sisters. So this is Harpy Lady Elegance. I think that is a title of a Yu-Gi-Oh episode or manga chapter. I'm not sure, but it is. So it features the original Harpy Lady Sisters. So you can shuffle one Harpy Lady Sisters from your field to the deck. So you really have to have Harpy Lady on your field before you activate this card. Then you can special summon 3 Harpy Ladies with different original names, 1 each from your hand, deck, and graveyard. So for the rest of the turn that you use this card, you cannot special summon any monster except winged monsters. And if this card is destroyed by a Harpy's card effect or your opponent's card effect, you can add 1 Harpy monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each of this card's effect once per turn. So for me, guys, I don't know about you, but if my deck will focus on Harpy Lady Sisters, I will add many copies of this card. But if it's not gonna be, it's just gonna be a chance for me to summon Harpy Lady Sisters. It's really not that useful. So you can limit yourself to having one of this by chance that you use your Harpy Lady Sisters in your strategy. I like the artwork though, because I actually want them to put this artwork on the Harpy Lady Sisters because they have to update the artwork of that card. I mean, it's iconic, but I just want a different, artwork for the T Harpy Lady Sisters. And finally, of course, one of the most powerful cards in this deck, almost as powerful as Harpy's Feather Duster, we have 2 copies of Harpy's Feather Storm. So Mai Valentine used this on the 4th season when she joined the Doma organization because of personal reasons. But the effect of this wrap card says that if you control a winged beast monster, you can, until the end of your turn, negate any monster effects that your opponent activates. So if you control a Harpy monster, you can activate this card from your hand. So it's just like a continuous spell. You don't have to wait for your opponent's turn to activate it. if you have a Harpy monster, and if this card in its owner's spell or trap card is destroyed, or if it's on the field and it's destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can add 1 Harpies Feather Duster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So it also works in conjunction to Harpies Feather Duster. So if you have that on your deck, you can add more of this because you can continuously add that card to your hand. And it has a very cute artwork as well. So we're done with the discussion of my main deck, the Harpy deck. So I would just like to add, guys, there is a very special card in the OCG, a token card that features Mai Valentine and the 3 Harpy Lady Sisters. So I don't think this is useful in the card game, but I just want to put it in because, you know, this deck is for me, a tribute to my favorite character, Mai Valentine. So it doesn't really hurt that I just put it on, you know, my card deck. But of course, I don't play it on the game. I just have this because, I don't know, I really find it really beautiful whatsoever. And I also have the original Yu-Gi-Oh cards from Bandai that was released in 1998. So this is Harpy Lady 1. Actually, you can see that it has a very different attack power than the original Harpy Lady. This is very similar to Cyber Harpy Lady instead. Harpy Lady 2. So this was reversed. This is supposed to be Harpy Lady 3 in Konami card game. And Harpy Lady 3 here, but this is Harpy Lady 2 there. Cyber Bondage and Elegant Egotist. These are so cute! And the artwork are the same with the ones that was used by Konami. But anyways, that concludes my video on the Harpy decks. So I'm gonna end this now. I think it would be fun if I will be giving what do you call this? Omake. What do you call that? Freebie or a card for you that watched this very long video. So I will be asking you a question. If you are the very first comment person, usually it's always one person that watches my video, and you will be able to answer my question. I will be giving you a rare card in the OCG, so it's a Japanese card. Probably not a rare card. Probably a Dark Magician Girl if you want Dark Magician Girl, or a Harpy card, but I don't want to give a Harpy card. Okay, I will just find one. So the question is, what is Mai Valentine's signature card? So it's very simple, diba guys? So I will be doing this on my Yu-Gi-Oh related video. So what is Mai Valentine's signature card? So there are a lot of Harpy Lady cards out there. So you will just pick one. So if you're a fan of the anime, you can easily answer my trivia question. And if you answered it right, you're the first to comment one. You can send the address to me. I will PM you. So just comment your Instagram account. I will message you there and I will send you a copy of Dark Magician, probably Dark Magician Girl in the OCG. So you can practically guess that it's not censored. So it is the original artwork that was designed by the creators of Yu-Gi-Oh. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this long dragging video. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do the other videos this long, but this is my favorite deck, so I have to discuss this really further. So I really like this. I really enjoy this video, so I hope you like it too, and I hope you will get to play or experience this deck because it's really useful, though not in the meta game, but at least it's fun to play these cards on a Yu-Gi-Oh card game. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again on my next video. Bye, and see you again.